Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime Talk.
Ireland's classic hits radio.
Welcome back to Nighttime Talk with Gary Brennan in for Niall Boylan. Now it's come to that time of the evening where we've got a big interview, and I'm excited about this one because a good pal of mine, Phil Cawley, is sitting right in front of me, and everyone tuning in right now knows exactly who he is. He brightens up your Sunday afternoons with brilliant music here on Ireland's classic hits radio.
1 2.
Is it a 1 2 1 2? And he's brought along a pal of his, and they're in league over something that's particularly interesting.
Headlights, first of all.
LED headlights.
Well, LED. I had to get LEDs done on my Jeep last week, 300 quid a side. That's just the LEDs. And I have Matrix on a van that I have, which are brilliant. I hope I never have to get them done after hearing that interview.
Yeah, you heard a few things there about the old LED headlights. They're not great if you're driving towards them. That sounds like something.
Yeah, but the Matrix, you see, will dip for the area that it needs to dip in. If you've ever driven Matrix in the fog, for example, they're brilliant. They're seeking out all the time. They're great, but they're expensive.
Well, there you go. That's Phil Cawley on cars. Now, look, we're going to kick this interview off because we're going to be looking at a new approach to modern dating. Since launching in early September, the Hitch dating show has already sparked 17 new relationships, quickly establishing itself as a standout matchmaking platform. Unlike traditional dating apps which rely on swiping, I should know, I used one for years before I met my girlfriend, Hitch takes a more personal approach, matching singles face-to-face to create authentic connections. This setup lets participants gauge chemistry immediately, eliminating prolonged uncertainty and wasted time. So joining me now is, of course, Phil Cawley and Paul Newman, the CEO of Catch, which is based in Wexford. And Phil is the front man and host of the new chat room concept, the face of safe dating in Ireland. So you're both really welcome to the show, and I'm excited to talk to you.
See, I'm kind of the host, you know, and I'm there. You have to kind of picture it as a virtual bar.
Okay.
Because you know that statistic we were talking about earlier on about there's less than 100 nightclubs left in Ireland. So where do over 35s, over 40s go to date? And this was the idea behind Catch, that it wouldn't be a Bumble, it wouldn't be a Tinder, the swipe and ride services, right? They're talking about taxis there, but you know that sort of a thing. So we said, look, there has to be another area here. Paul will be able to give you some statistics, but for example, don't get to go to nightclubs anymore. You're of the vintage. You remember the 90s.
Yep.
And you remember the slow set, and you remember all that sort of stuff where people would go and they'd get hitched up or get a shift, and that's gone. Yeah. So suddenly there's a group of people now in their 40s, and they don't have that anymore. So we've come up with this little idea. It's like a virtual bar where we open at 8:00 every night, and you come in and you chat to me. All right, if you want to chat to me, we chat, and then everyone sees you chatting to me. So they get the cut of your jib. Do you know what I mean? And they get a sense of who you are, and then you go off, behind your screen in the virtual bar, and then people will have an idea who want to talk to you because they've seen you already. So they're not blindly knocking on your door for a chat. They have an idea about you, and they get a bit more about your personality because you've spoken to me. But it's just amazing. We were looking at statistics today about the amount of women that are single in Ireland, and particularly, because I'm doing video calls with them every night and we're chatting. The amount of stunningly beautiful women in Ireland that can't get a date. And Paul, you have a theory about this one, haven't you?
From the point of view of dating now, as you know yourself, you've used dating apps.
Yeah.
We all have used dating apps. Your listeners as well. I think that the big thing about it is that we've all lived with them for a while, and we know that we've evolved, and we know where it's going. Where the whole idea of being profiling someone's photograph, like things evolve so fast now. They want to see the real person. So video is where everything is going. I want to understand a person before I engage with them.
Okay, so talk me through if somebody signs up to do this. Yeah. Tell me exactly what happens the minute they sign up.
So I suppose like you're going into it. What we kind of say from the point of view is we want to replicate the old style feeling of going into a bar and chatting to somebody, right? That's what we want to do. So if you look at dating apps at the moment, you put up a picture and then you start swiping and chatting. What we want to do is everything is real from the start. So you do a video profile, which means everybody gets a 10 or 15 second view of you. Your mannerisms, your joyfulness, you get a lot more. So when you try and match with someone in an event or a coffee date or whatever, they know you more. So Catch itself, we are focusing on the personality. So to go into depth what you're saying, when you register with a video. So then everything is real. There's no fake profile. Everything that everybody can see you as a real person.
There's a vetting system as well, so everyone is vetted. So you have that extra layer of safety. And another statistic we were looking at was there's an awful lot of people coming out of marriages. I spoke to a woman. Where was she the other night in Limerick? And she was sitting there and she was telling me she was 39. It's 9 years since she had a date, and this is a gorgeous woman. I spoke to a woman from, actually, I know we've been talking about the southeast tonight in Wexford, a woman from Wexford town the other night. It's 2 years since she had a date. And our theory was, and Paul and I were thinking, the lads in Ireland are very, they're a bit slow, they really
Wow, there's nothing new about that, Phil.
But no, what I was thinking was, right, now, we're all men here, and I know that there are girls on this floor here, and please, ladies, feel free to disagree with me, and they're both very good-looking girls. I have a theory, right, that lads are afraid to chat up a good-looking girl. And this is what's happening, because we're getting a lot of girls and women, and they can't get a date because the Irish boys are too shy.
I think your listeners will understand a lot of men are afraid of rejection. And I think that word will resonate everywhere. Like, we feel that, dating apps are my safe haven. Because a guy, you can use a dating app, swipe, and you feel you're doing something. And the rejection doesn't feel the same as in person. So as you said, the girls that we meet on the events all the time are strong, confident ladies. Yeah. And they know exactly what they want. I want to find someone for a relationship. So they're using dating apps because they've no other choice. As you mentioned, the nightclubs are closing down.
I think a lot of these dating apps that have I think they peaked in the last few years in terms of the Tinders and the Bumbles and all them.
You see Match.com have released figures this year, month on month on month. It's down, 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 down. Because women and men are realising that, look, there's 70% of dating apps in Ireland, right, 70% are men, 30% women, right? So the 30% of women only go for the top 5% of men. Right? The best looking.
Yeah.
Which is obviously okay. And then they're saying that the women that in that 5% are saying the guys they meet, they're ghosting them and so on. Of course, because they're the best looking guys.
Yeah.
So the point being is the guys who are a 5 out of 10, they are not getting anything. The guys are bewildering themselves what's happening. And we're saying the reason is that women know exactly what they want and men are just afraid.
Yeah. And it sounds to me, because what I find interesting about what you're talking about with this new venture is that it starts with a video. Okay, and that immediately eliminates an awful lot of things like catfishing,
but it's not one-dimensional either. So the photo, Gary, is one-dimensional.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So if you do a video profile, it gives you an awful lot more sense of who the person is. But then when we do our little video chat room, that's the next level again, because they can, get a sense of who you are. And I think that's really important.
And tell us what that looks like, Phil.
Okay, so imagine you're on your screen and you go to a little live event, and we've got lovely, backgrounds with the Catch sign and cool lighting. So I'm there with my mic, and we have a number of... Now, you understand this in radio, so we have a number of pads ready to go. For example, we have the wonderful Mairead Malloy Doyle, who is our dating strategist and psychologist. She answers some questions because we encourage people to come on and talk to us. And if they have any questions... this is a private, safe room, by the way, and we restrict it to 20, 25 people a night. So you're going to have a load of people. If you don't want to mingle, you don't have to. You can just type. So there's me on the screen, and then if somebody decides that they'd like to chat to me, then I can just literally press their profile, and they'll appear in a wee box beside me. We chat as we're chatting now, and I'll ask you, where are you? What are you doing? And, we've had a lot of men and ladies on with their dogs sitting up beside them, people on the couch in their PJs. Actually, we had a guy the other night. I don't think he was expecting me to go to him, but he had the, it's okay to mingle with me. And he was sitting there with his shirt off, right? and because he was so comfortable in his house, I don't think he realised. And I'm thinking to myself, right, this I don't know how many girls we had on that night, but they were all trying to get a look at his six-pack. Right. And it wasn't until we finished our conversation I kind of said to him, now you do realise that you've no shirt on, and all the ladies have been trying to get a look at you. So he stood up, and it was worth the wait. But there's all sorts of little things like that. But the whole point about it is we're coming into your home, you're sitting on the couch. We always make sure it's after Coronation Street time and before late night talk. so we don't interrupt.
Oh, great.
things.
That's what we want to hear here on Nighttime Talk.
And it's just people, and Paul will always say, encourage people, grab your favourite drink. If it's a cup of coffee, cup of tea, glass of wine, whatever, sit down, relax. Here's some of the profiles we have. We answer some dating dilemmas too. We do second date updates. And we had a woman on from Galway recently, and she was chatting away to me. And I was asking her, couldn't figure out how she couldn't get a date. So then I said goodbye to her, went on, and we talked about something else. And then I went to a guy who was, I think his handle was BS No More. And I pressed him, and I was chatting to him. And I suddenly thought, you two guys would be amazing together. Roll on. 4 weeks later, I get this message on my social media to say, Phil, we met for a coffee, love in a bucket.
Wow. That's a question I wanted to ask you though, Phil, was like, when you're comparing this get-together of people, like, do you have a fair idea in your head? You're looking around and you're going, I think they would suit each other, and I think they would suit each other. Do you get a vibe off them immediately?
Sometimes I do. Like, I'm no expert. The only experience I have is my life experience. So I don't claim to be, a dating guru or a doctor. I think I rely on my radio skills. And do you remember we were talking earlier on that sometimes you embrace the silence? That sometimes if you're talking to somebody, I don't want to be asking them too many questions. I like them to just kind of come out of their shell a little bit, that they wouldn't have done in a profile picture or a profile video. So we're getting that extra step up the ladder for people to kind of get a sense of them. So I try to, I do ask the simple questions. We don't want to go down ultra personal stuff, but it's simple questions like, what do you eat? What do you like? What kind of a partner are you looking for? And also we encourage people to, on their profiles, because we're all adults, right? If it's something casual you want, you need to say that so you don't waste people's time. And also ghosting is another thing that we chat about proactively on the show, that, if you've been on a date and it didn't work out, grand. Sure, look at, at least you tried, fair play to you. But don't ghost somebody. Say, look, didn't feel the magic. Thanks very much. Best of luck. End of. A lot of people don't do that. And that can cause a little bit of emotional turmoil, because your emotional health is very good when it comes to dating. If you're getting rejected or whatever, you've got to take care of your emotional well-being.
Absolutely. It's so important. But when you're doing this, how many people are in there with you?
Well, Paul, I think we'd like to restrict it to 25, 30, isn't that it?
I mean, the come back, I suppose, if you think about it, right, we developed this because we saw a need, right? So if your listeners go out on a Saturday night or a Friday night, for example, let's say they're in their 30s, I always say, like, how many new people do you talk to? Like, a guy, go to a bar with his friends, right? How many new girls are they going to break themselves into now? Very, very few, right? One, maybe two. So
music is too loud.
Yeah, so what we say is...
That's the truth at my age, anyway.
Well, if a guy or a girl wants to meet new people outside their network, this is a great way to meet like 5 to 10 new people, right? And they get out there and you get practice of building up your self-esteem, talking, and you get introduced. That's the big thing here. Yeah. Phil is the host, and in the background, the system...
You can imagine me sitting there now with a dicky bow. I don't. I've got my Who T-shirt on tonight. It's about me trying to introduce people, and it's working, and it's actually good crack.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul was saying that it's only like a half an hour long, and we do different parts of Ireland, but it's come into the bar. So in answer to your question, it's 25, 30, no more, because that's manageable. Not an awful lot of people want to talk, but a lot of people there would be listening to the bits of advice. And maybe if they saw somebody that they liked talking to me, they may not approach them then, because a list comes in after we do the little piece in the video room of who attended. And then you can go off and chat to them at a later time. That's completely your prerogative. But I suppose the thing about it is, with what's different about what we're trying to do here is, it's not Tinder, it's not swipe left, swipe this. It's something a little bit more personal. And we were looking at some of the models in America, for example, and they've got, Christian dating sites, a dating site for this, a dating site for that. And the markets are huge there. But here in Ireland, there's an awful lot of people, if I can use the old, left on the shelf, because they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. The nightclubs are closing. The bars are stupidly busy. Where do you go? What do you do?
I think, Phil, Phil was on. I remember a guy came on maybe a week ago, and he was from the Midlands. We have a Midland show based on our shows. And he said, I'm going to go to the bar on Saturday. And I just thought, like, his friends are coupled up. He's by himself. I'm going to go alone to the bar. And I was just thinking, like, I think there's so many people out there that are single and alone right now and with a glass of wine in their hand right now.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I would love to meet someone.
Yeah,
How do
look,
I do that?
I actually know people that are single and they're in their 40s, like I am, friends of mine. And
You're not in your 40s,
I
are
am,
you?
Phil.
Are
I
you
know I
serious?
don't look at it. I know you wouldn't believe it. Lucky I work in radio, so no one could see it. But like, no, they would be very reluctant to do the Tinders and the Bumbles and the Hinges and all that because they don't want to do it. But also equally, they're reluctant because in your 40s, it's a different vibe from your 20s and your 30s going out and drinking.
Can we be serious for a second, though, right? We're coming up to Christmas.
Yeah.
And you know, depression and anxiety is something that rears its head for a lot of people coming up to Christmas, particularly those people who are not in a relationship. I'm not saying a relationship is the answer to everything, right? But it's nice. We're not meant to be on our own, really. And with Christmas around the corner, you know, I mean, it's like the death of the country pub as well. Where do the farmers go to take care of their mental health? They went and talked to their buddies of a Friday night. Where do you go if you want to date? There's not an awful lot of places to go anymore. But what we're thinking about is providing this small, safe area.
Yeah, I think this is one thing. We've done an awful lot of events in the last year in Ireland. And one of the things that really comes up with me is that rural Ireland can be positive and can be negative. I've met so many girls in their 40s, and the one thing they dislike, I don't want to go on a dating app, because if I go on a dating app, I'm a teacher, and everyone's going to know I'm single in this area. So on Catch, we have an incognito mode. You can join Catch, no one's going to know, you can attend an event, and you can be there. When Phil introduces you to someone, it's all private until you're introduced. And I think these little features that we listen to users, you have to, like dating apps have changed, you have to change. Because especially in Ireland's rural, and sometimes being single is like a disease.
It sounds to me like safety was paramount when you were putting this together.
We're looking at what is wrong. Because if you think about it, just think for a second. We're being pushed into dating apps. Put a photo, your best photo. I know you can't see me on your listeners' hand, but I'm not photogenic. Right?
You're Paul Newman. What are you talking about?
What I'm saying is, I'm a nice guy. I'm a 5.5 out of 10. But my personality is way bigger. So like when I was younger, I used to talk to girls in bars and I'd be flamboyant. I wouldn't care how I looked. I would just chat. And that's me. And when I was designing this, I said, where's the place for me on dating apps? The picture doesn't...
And it worked, apparently.
There you go.
It worked. But you were talking about safety. Yes, there's a vetting process for people who are on Catch. So there is a layer of safety with Catch.
I was just thinking, because the point was made about in rural Ireland, people are kind of conscious of the people that are all around them and everything, and that kind of ties into safety in a way, because it's similar in cities as well. I mean, you can be catfished. You can match with somebody who's lying through their teeth with the pictures that they're using, and they say they'll meet you.
So what we do is we've a methodology of we call it profile strength. So you register with a video, you've all your information, your geo coordinates, your mobile phone number, your email, and in the background our staff will review it. And if the system flags it as in it's not right, we'll hold it off. We'll contact you directly.
But that catfishing thing is awful, and it does happen, and it always happens. Vulnerable people, males, mainly females, I think, would be catfished. And there are some really clever people out there. But this, one of the things we do as well, we do the questions and answers thing. And if you're ever worried about anything, you know, for example, I would challenge anyone, will say, if it comes to some of the bigger apps like Bumble and Tinder, to find a human voice. I think that would be impossible. And I think that a human voice at the other end is something that's going to help improve your safety and your odds of finding love.
There you go. Is there an age limit?
No, there's not. We've had...
There's a weight limit.
There's a weight limit.
No, there's
That's
not.
just for me.
I mean,
Sorry.
because we have above 80, over 18s really. And we've had an awful lot of members from all different age groups.
I think generally though, Paul, like, you know, we're 35, 40 plus.
Basically,
you know.
that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And do you think it guarantees a more intimate connection? Because you're starting off with the kind of one-on-one, and well, not a one-on-one, but you're breaking down those barriers that
You're
are
going
usually
in.
there when
You're
dating.
going into your date with extra information. Like we did this thing about when is the best time for a first date. With safety in mind as well, and we landed on lunchtime. It's also less expensive. We've talked about what to talk about in a first date, and some people, it's baby steps. Some people are coming out of their first marriage only ever having been with one person, and they suddenly find themselves at 45 single again, And what do they do? Where do they go? So they immediately go to one of the bigger apps, and they're just swiping. And there's so much more out there, and there's a safer place to go. And you should really look at it as you're marketing yourself, right? Take the advice from professionals and be positive, be proactive regarding your dating. My mother used to say to me, they're not going to come knocking on your door. They're not. You've got to be proactive. Get out there, Even things like, what do you wear on the first date? We had a woman send us a question this week. She went on a date in Kilkenny, and a lad turned up in a dirty T-shirt and his pair of jeans, and she didn't know whether he thought he was God's gift to women when he arrived. And you'd say simple things like he probably didn't think, in fairness to him, but you'd say simple things like you clean yourself up for feck's sake, But sure, look at.
Well, people need the help sometimes. In fairness,
they do. Yeah, no, they do. Yeah.
I think we mentioned help. I think what we always say in the show: if you meet someone on the show, ask them out as quick as possible. And it could be as simple as, let's go for coffee.
No, I like that.
We try and get people out as quick as possible face to face. Because if you go into that ping pong chat, which yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It starts off great, and then it goes, unless you're hitting it, it goes down.
And you find that on a lot of these apps that you'd be talking to someone and you'd be talking for ages and ages and ages, and then you say, do you fancy going for a coffee? And there's nothing, then they disappear. And you're like, well, there's it goes a week of me texting you. Yeah. But gladly those days
that's actually great advice,
are behind me.
Yeah, just go for it.
Go for it, absolutely.
And the thing about it, what we always say is, go for a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And just in a barista, and take the coffees, go out for a walk. Because when you go for a walk, you both are looking down the ground, you're both walking, and you relax. The worst case is you're sitting side by side across one another, and you're both nervous.
And you're trapped there waiting for the bill.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing too. The girl we spoke to from Kilkenny, your man said to her when they were out for the date. Now this is a funny one, right? He said, God, you don't look an awful lot like your profile picture. And to which she didn't know whether that was a compliment or an insult. And then she's thought to herself, he actually doesn't bloom and look a bit like his profile picture either. And while they were in the restaurant, right, he was ogling up the waitress. Right?
Oh, for God's sake.
So she had enough of this anyway. So just after the main course, she was clever enough to wait for the main course. So just after the main course, she made her way to the Jacks and disappeared. But anyway, he has been bombarding her with messages since then, and she doesn't know whether he's looking for his half of the bill or whatever. And then
probably.
But we were doing this thing, like technically she's actually ghosting him now, where what she needs to do is do the usual two-liner. Listen, thanks very much. Yeah. Didn't feel it. Best of luck. Yeah. End of.
Yeah, absolutely. Be honest from the get-go, and you'll always be great with the truth. I want to ask you, how has it been received?
Very positively. From the messages that I've got on social media, there were like thanks and there was success. I haven't had any negativity, but the bigger you get, you'll always get that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get the message across as to what it actually is, because it's quite difficult to explain. But as I said to you before, it's a virtual bar. I'm the host. You come in. If you want to chat to me, chat to me. If not, we're providing a little bit of advice. We have, our little vox pops from various things. And then people will come in and will chat. And that is like your dating audition. You're not under pressure because, I've an organic way, we'll say, with people. And as we both said, Gary, when you embrace the silence, you get the best out of a person. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the best out of people who are a little bit kind of lost their way in the dating. And hopefully I can show them in a light that will make them that little bit more attractive to other people when they're on our little, pop-up show each night from 8.
And that you've been doing it now for a while. Where do you see it this time next year? What are your hopes for it?
I think, Mike, the biggest thing that happens is when we get dates, we follow up with people straight away. And from the start of the show, the onset till now, we've had 74% of people who went on dates went on second dates. So where it is right now, it's like the launch of taxi apps in Ireland, right? Yeah. We all knew it was good. We didn't really get into it until everyone's using it, and it spread like from word of mouth. So where do we see it in a year from now? The way I predict, 100%, is that video dating and the idea of interacting via video is going to become mainstream as we see the transition as TikTok is evolving.
Yeah, and people are getting more used to using the cameras on their phone now as well. And people are everybody has their own television station now. So they will get more used to it. probably the younger generation first, but certainly, if we're dealing with 40-year-olds, I would hope that they will embrace the technology. And it's just, are you ready for this, Gary?
Yeah.
You're only 2 clicks away from love.
Oh, there you go. There's the line. I like that line. You're only 2 clicks away from love. Well, but like in terms of age groups and things like that, when you expand and you go down that road, you're going to have different sessions with different age groups,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then it'll be more tailored, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like we know there's demand from the 22 to 26-year-old for kind of a nightclub style environment.
Yeah.
Where there's a cool DJ, and in the background everyone is mingling and having fun, and people are interacting in a kind of a house party way, right? We know the older age groups want a little more laid back, so we're going to have a lot more shows, guaranteed. The demand is there. We're just planning it step by step.
And can I share a little bit on the technology with you, actually?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm fascinated by
because
it.
Paul is the tech head here. Now, you understand a radio studio. So
barely, Phil.
No, you're doing very good. You're doing very well. So I have a kind of a radio studio at home, but Paul has shown me the technology on a phone that can literally get the radio studio and take it out of the way. So I load up all my little files, and I can operate the entire show and play the files and the theme music while I'm talking to people on the screen of the phone. Obviously, we're concerned with a lot of stuff on the internet at the moment. The sound quality is not great. Our sound quality is spot on. And we just little things like lighting and whatever. But the technology means that we can just, stop in the shopping mall and do the show from there. We can do the show from anywhere. Like we were in Lisdoon, Varna for the Bachelor Festival, and we did a show that night. And we spoke to the old matchmaker. Yeah, Willie Daly, by the way, is the matchmaker. And when I heard the name Willie Daly,
the legend.
Yeah,
Willie Daly.
I thought that was a cure for something, but apparently it was. Anyway, we had great crack there. We were looking to Donegal for the festivals there, just to kind of get a bit of atmosphere and also to talk to people. We did Temple Bar actually recently, and it was just interesting when you get people's opinions on dating and their dates and why they're single and what kind of a partner would they like, and just very interesting when you get out there talking to people.
Before I let you go, I have to ask you, Phil, because I mean you're a legend of radio, and you've DJ'd a few nights in your time, so you must have seen hundreds of people trying it on with each other and trying to talk. So you're a bit of an expert.
Well, when I started DJing in the 80s, baby, there was the slow set, and in fact the slow set I think lasted until the mid-90s. Would it have been the mid-90s? So I had 15 years of it. So the DJ set would start and everyone would be dancing, and then there would be 3 slow songs. And then you'd do another dancing for 45 minutes. Then there would be 3 more slow songs. And for those people who, fondly remember it, it was a time, and I know that in very rural areas, the guys will be on one side, the girls will be on the other. But then, in clubs in Dublin and everything else, the slow set was very important. You'd ask somebody up to dance. Usually, the lads would ask the girls up. If she said no, she said no. If she said yes, right, and you got the first song out of her,
bingo.
If she stayed up for the second one, you were on for the shift. And that was the kind of progression. I mean, but that's the fact. Do you know what I mean?
It is. It is exactly.
It was a place to go. You knew the lie of the land. You knew the way it would go. Now it's totally different. Like I have a 15-year-old daughter who's on her second boyfriend who she's asked out. And I'm going, well, you can worry about that now. I'm worrying about it already. But,
of course.
But they have a whole different way of doing it. In the meantime, there's 40-year-olds out there that are kind of caught in that vortex in the middle where they remember the slow set. It's not out there. They want to meet people. And it's not like bring back the slow set. It's kind of cater for those people who are stuck in the middle. So my clubbing days, 80s, 90s, always included the slow set. And then I remember it kind of organically died out in the 90s and hasn't come back.
I remember when it died out because I used to go up to Club 92 in Leopardstown. Yeah. And when they stopped doing the 3 songs at the end of the night, the slow set, you built your whole night around those 3 songs. So you were talking to these girls and you were doing your thing. And then you got rid of it and sure, you didn't know what to do. I know. And that was the first sign that things were changing.
But I always thought it was a case of the fact that the bars got rid of the slow set because nobody was drinking at that time.
Yeah.
Because the music was slow, everyone was looking at the dance floor.
Yeah, they were down dancing.
Because nightclubs increase the volume to get everyone to drink.
So I do a lot of weddings, and from time to time they'll say to me, oh, by the way, Phil, will you do a slow set? I said, no problem.
Just for old time's sake. Listen, I'm going to have to wrap it up there, but I've enjoyed talking to both of you. What people who want to find out more, where do they go?
Go to Catch, KATCH.ie.
Catch.ie. There, you heard it right there. It sounds like a brilliant solution to a huge problem in this country, and I wish you both the best of luck with it. And I'm sure, Phil, you'll keep me up to date with it when I'm in here doing news on Sundays.
I will, guys. I won't say on Sunday because I'm at Jerry's in Skerries.
Oh, Jerry's in Skerries.
This Saturday.
That's where Phil's off to. Thank you so much, Paul Newman.
Thank you,
and
Gary.
Phil Cawley, for
Thanks,
joining
AJ.
me.
Thanks, guys.
Great stuff. Well, listen, that's it from me here on Nighttime Talk tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night with loads of new things to talk about with you because it's your show. Good night from me.
Now, real people, real opinions. Nighttime Talk.
Ireland's classic hits radio.